Hi guys, a very warm welcome to our channel. Today we have a very special guest with all of us, Silvester. Just to give you a little background about him, Silvester is currently working as an assistant manager in KPMG's deal advisory practice, and he himself made a transition from audit to core M&A advisory team. A very warm welcome to you, Silvester.
Thanks, Beer, and hi everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, firstly, thank you so much for joining us today, right? Uh, can you just give a little brief background about yourself?
So a brief about myself. Like Beer mentioned, I am working as an assistant manager in KPMG India's deal advisory practice, specifically the M&A consulting wing. I'm based out of Mumbai. To give you a brief, academically, I started off pursuing my chartered accountancy simultaneously with my BCom graduation. I completed that, and while I was pursuing my CA, I did my articleship with KPMG India's audit wing based out of Mumbai. Once I qualified, I made the transition into KPMG's deal advisory wing, specifically as in the M&A consulting wing, where I focused primarily on closing and making success of the deals that I've worked on so far. So that's briefly me on an academic front. Other than that, extracurriculars, I'm a good orator. I passionately follow public speaking and practice it. So across through colleges, I've been a champion of that. I'm into literary fiction as a hobby, and I play the violin if that interests you as a certain add-on if I could have to my life. That's it. That's me as a person. If I
Wow, Sylvester, I really wonder how do you get time, considering your work profile. Okay, great.
existential crisis. That's all it is. Existential crisis in many doses does it throughout the week.
Okay, great. So, Sylvester, can you just briefly touch upon what exactly is your profile, and what is that you do on a daily basis?
Oh, okay, perfect. So, M&A consulting, in one sentence, if I could put it, is realizing the deals that you see day to day on paper, in news articles across on the board, where you'd simply read ABC company has acquired XYZ company. Converting that statement on paper to on-ground reality is basically what M&A consulting is. So, making a deal a successful deal, it involves a lot of hands-on deck approach from a lot of skilled people who are facilitating individual aspects of the deal, and all of these need to tie together into and synchronize together at the proper times and the proper intervals to make the deal to a success and to achieve the deal rationale that the investors or the corporate strategists who have who initiated the deal wanted to realize out of it. So that's basically what we do on a day-to-day basis, where we coordinate and realize we understand what is the deal rationale, and we ensure everything that needs to make sure it happens as it was designed on paper to become a reality. That's basically what we do.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that your work must involve a lot of coordination with valuers, deal strategists, financial due diligence experts, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that aspect, yes, where we come in is that, while when a company or any investor, any person wishes to do a deal, all they have is an idea, which is basically what they want to achieve out of an M&A transaction. They do not know who or how is this going to happen, when it should happen, to what extent does this deal need to happen. When I say what extent, it means that there could be a company who wants to completely integrate the asset that they acquire. Some person is fine with just running it as a joint venture. They don't want to involve into the day to day. They just need the profits out of the company. That's also a way. So there are various ways into which they can achieve that goal that they have in mind. What we do in that phase is to ensure that everybody that this deal touches knows what this deal is. So by that, I have to interact with on a day-to-day basis with valuers to understand what exactly are the valuation adjustments, or what are the valuation assumptions that they are taking to make sure that the model is come. I have to interact with financial modeling teams to understand what exactly are the numbers that they have put in, or what exactly are the types of models that they have conjured. if you have to project for numbers across the board. A key part of our deal has to do with talking with due diligence experts who have done diligences on assets and understanding the valuation adjustments that they have proposed. What I mean by that is basically the watch out points that they have communicated, saying that if you buy this asset, this is something you need to watch out for. Making sure that the investor or the person who has thought of the deal understands the ramifications of it is one thing that we do. So that's basically it. So each person is very specialized. Since this is a niche sector, every person has their touches, and we make sure that everybody is on the same page to make sure that the deal succeeds.
Okay, great. So you're kind of jack of all trades, right?
Basically.
Okay, great. Now let's address the elephant in the room. How to get into an M&A profile, and because especially since you come from an audit background, and there are many CA aspirants or professionals who want to make a transition from, let's say, audit or a traditional tax background to into a core M&A profile. So uh, what advice would you give to them and as to how they can make such a move?
Okay, so again, that's a question as is by its definition with many answers. I'll start off with how I got into the field. So, like I said, once I cleared my chartered accountancy and I had the knowledge that I wanted to gain out of audit, which is a base ground knowledge of multi-sectoral understanding of what exactly the financial statements are trying to say out. What exactly are they transparently trying to disclose? What does a number in a trade receivable mean, or what does a number in a share equity capital mean? So after understanding all of that, I consciously chose to go into M&A consulting, because that was a field that interests me, because that is one of the very short ways that a company chooses to move forward. So one thing that you will definitely need to have is an aptitude to explore something that is not day to day in a company. People will not have ready-made answers to a deal scenario, which means they are going to be looking to you for answers, and it's okay. You do not have to formulate to it, but you need to be okay with exploring for it. So one is an aptitude to try something that is different, that you do not know as at point zero, while even you're starting with a deal. Uh, okay, coming to the CA background, how what helped me there, or what I would rather ask CA aspirants to focus on, is try to get into the rationale of numbers. If there's a financial management that is asking you of a particular ratio of what does an ROCE mean, or why is that ROCE calculated, not just knowing what the numerator or the denominator is dictating, but knowing what that number tells you. What does a debt service ratio means, or interest coverage ratio means? What do those numbers mean to an investor? Because that's the rationale of that ratio. As a pure blank example, same thing goes with corporate law, with everything that you would have learned in tax, everything that you've learned in audit. Think of it from an investor's perspective. What would that person like to know from that number in itself? If you were buying that company, what would that number talk to you? So understanding why numbers are what they are, in whatever fashion, in your CA curriculum, in your audit articleship field, or in your tax articleships. However, especially people who are specializing in M&A tax would appreciate this a lot, because they would know what is the tax schemes for different kinds of deal scenarios. So that's what I would say. So focus on the numbers. How to crack into it is more about this: how much leverage have you applied to appreciating these diversities, or what these numbers are talking of. And as an added advantage, which is increasingly becoming more relevant, is multi-sectoral approach, wherein you get to appreciate that the number of sectors that you have touched, the better you appreciate that numbers talk differently in different sectors. So that is again a skill that is appreciated, because you are versatile in that fashion, and that compounds into the number of deals that you can consult on. So yeah, that'll be one.
Okay, wow, very, very well said, Sylvester. And just for the benefit of our viewers, I would just like to reiterate one point that Sylvester made, and it's a very, very valid point. Even if you're, let's suppose, currently in an audit background, right? Don't focus on don't focus much on what exactly is the working paper looking like, but rather focus more on what exactly is the business scenario. You need to have a sense of how the business is moving, right? And what are the broad contours as to how an owner or an investor would look into that particular business, because that is something which really helps you to pivot into a M&A role post your qualification. So I think that is a very, very useful tip, Sylvester. Thank you for that. Okay, now
Welcome.
moving on, just wanted to understand from you what exactly are the skills required in terms of for an M&A profile, apart from the technical skills which already a CA degree imbibes in us. What are the non-technical skills or other skills you would say are important?
Fair. Okay, in terms of non-technical skills, so as I've learned through like my 3 year stint presently here, things that have repeatedly proven themselves useful is one, an ever-growing knowledge of your Excel base, how you're going to learn, because increasingly it is proven to be something that you cannot substitute in any field of consulting right now, and more so in deal advisory, because every person that I've talked to, that I've interacted to right now, has given me data in Excel. So you need to know what those numbers are talking, and for that you need to know what that Excel is trying to is trying to tell you. And therefore, any and every time that is invested in Excel is worth it. How much more you explore, how much more how quickly you can understand data, because people are going to deliver Excel, people are not going to explain their Excels to you. You're going to understand, you have to understand on a repeatedly fast pace. So that's something that you will have to that will be definitely a value add if you invest your time in. That's one skill set. And coming back to its cousin, which is PowerPoint, because increasingly now you know that it's gone are the days of pen and paper, board meetings and stuff. Everything is on PowerPoint, and increasingly so in the deal advisory space, in the deal space itself, where investors, people, private equities, basically everyone who has money is choosing to condense and accept data in a PPT, and that too in a much more rapid fashion. Like you take Geo for an example, how rapid faced deals are going off, deals are closing within weeks, within days now. So you need, so what that translates for you is, as an M&A consultant, you will have to deliver a lot of fast paced data in a very short period of time. And where, so therefore you need to be minimalist in your approach of how much data you're communicating, and how quickly you can put that, translate what you know onto a PPT, so that it translates to the same idea of into what it goes into this the investor's head. And again, so PPT skills is one aspect of that, translating idea into the investor's head. The second aspect of that is communication. So you need to be a good communicator on your skills. As I said, things are not going to be 100% clear. You are not going to know everything on day zero. And as and when you're progressing, you are going to have half limited knowledge, but you need to know the ramifications of it and be able to communicate that. Uh, there are going to be times when you might be wrong. There are going to be times when you have a different idea from the person you are communicating with. Accepting that with grace and diplomacy, and the other side of the coin is putting forth your point with diplomacy and respect, saying that this is what I think it is, and these are the reasons why I believe this is so. This is the communication that I've gotten from these many stakeholders, and they feel so for a certain aspect. You make sure that the other person appreciates your point. It's not your job to sit and convince them, but it's your job to make sure that they understand everything that is there to be understood. So communication skills, definitely
Great.
something you need to work on.
Great. So just to summarize for our audience, what Sylvester said, one is Excel skills, second is PowerPoint, and third and most importantly, communication skills, or sort of an art of storytelling. You should be able to communicate what exactly are you trying to say. Okay,
Correct.
great. So, a couple of questions, related questions, which time and again every CA has faced. Is it mandatory to do a CFA if you want to make a career in M&A? CFA
Um,
or an MBA, so to say.
I would reserve my opinions, because as I said, so right now I stand as a chartered accountant, as a sole chartered accountant who's into the M&A consulting practice without a CFA degree or an MBA degree. I appreciate what these courses have to teach, and I appreciate how they could leverage your skills that you would have. So had you had this knowledge, I know where it would help. But again, they would help. They are not necessary. They are not mandatory if you have your basics in place. So I believe that CA does that as an all-rounded course for you, because it teaches you 8 subjects in absolutely different spectrums of the world, where you are going to be able to appreciate every number that is thrown at you. So there, so far, there has not been a number that I have not been able to condense for like, or I have needed to do a specific course for like 25 hours of my life to understand that particular aspect of a deal. it's a learning process. You talk to people, you talk to Google, you understand stuff, but again,
Right.
it's not a mandate.
Okay.
They would definitely appreciate, but they would definitely help, but not a necessity in my opinion.
Great, great, great. And another related question, which people ask a lot is financial modeling the course a mandatory thing or just a good add-on?
Again, financial model. So in M&A consulting, you are going to condense financial models on a day-to-day basis. You're going to have to work with numbers and those modeling excels. But if you are again, if you're able to dissect that excel and appreciate what those numbers are trying to tell you, I do not think you need a specific course to understand that. It will definitely be a good add-on if you have the time and effort to go for it. I would recommend for it, but I did not think it's a necessity for it to crack. It will not be something that will come up in your interview saying that have you done a course in financial modeling, then only you'll come. So
Yeah.
it's very rare.
Okay. Okay. Great. 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 Now moving on on a lighter note, how's your work-life balance? And we've heard a lot that M&A consultants live their life in a suitcase. Is it true? How much reality is it in this statement?
Okay. To be frank, that answer again very much depends on two things. One is the type of deal that you're working on, and two, the type of person you are. Because uh, because let's say you have the opportunity to work on a Flipkart Walmart deal in your lifetime, or it's that is a once in a lifetime opportunity where you forever you'll be able to say that I worked on this deal, and therefore people in the industry are going to appreciate what you have to say for
Right.
what that
It's a feather in
translates
the
for.
cap, right? It's a
Yeah,
feather in the cap.
yeah, exactly. So it's a feather on your cap, so it's something that you can always go forward to. So if you're a person who appreciates that and who's willing to put in the time and effort for it, you will not feel like it's work 100% of the time.
Right.
It is going to take out, it is going to demand, such deals are going to demand, let's say, 12 to 14 hours work days at times, because it's that cutthroat. There are confidentialities involved. The more time invested in that deal, the more the risk is higher that the deal leaks, and there are price losses or investor losses. So uh, that's there. But coming back to the main point at hand, work life balance fluctuates. There are peaks and troughs. uh, how I across my 3 years, how I have seen it is, let's say if a deal, let's say you can put it on a timeline of 100%. The first 20% or so is lean. You can understand the deal. It takes space. And the mid 40% is medium. So you would have lopsided weekdays, because there are going to be communication weeks where you have to talk to the steer co about how the deal has progressed during this week. What are the
Right.
key things that need to get done? Are there any long lead items that are in the red, in the red line, where people need to focus on it right now? And so such cases, so if there are such deadlines that have to happen today, you might have to sit out on the office on that day. And as the deal ends, there is absolutely no saying what will happen in your life, because the deal ends based on your communication. You have to give that sign off to the steerco saying that the deal is fine, or rather the deal is going as planned. These are the things that you have to tell them. These are the things that you should have noticed, and these are the things that have happened. They're the checks in the boxes, nothing left, no loose ends, all of that done. So again, the fag end is your responsibility. So then your time invested is going to translate more. But if I have to put it on a general, if you're asking me for a general number, like a statement, it's decent. It's not something that you'll be dying for. It is not something that people are expected as to work as like Wall Street works, but
Okay.
it's decent, at least in the
Okay.
M&A practice.
Great, great, great. Okay, so now moving on, what are the growth prospects in this role, or typical job opportunities after this profile?
Okay. In terms of growth aspects, I would say it is diverse across the field, because it depends on where you want to grow. This What this profile teaches you is a skill set that the industry appreciates. Everybody in the industry appreciates. So maybe not a plant manager who's sitting there, whose job is only to look after that particular plant. It may not
Yeah.
be something that he's going to sit there and appreciate. But the CXOs of a company are definitely going to have are going to lend a ear to what you have to say, because because there is it is very rare now in the corporate field where people are shying away from doing a deal. Every company of every scale and every sector is consciously looking at M&As as in their corporate strategy. It's just not sales increase karo, let's go into a new geography. They don't see let's go into new geography. They think let's acquire a company in that geography so that we can build up our market there. So, something across that line. So therefore, an industry switch wherein you go as a corporate M&A consultant or an advisor for a corporate wing is the leading switch that keep people take. Uh, Again, right now across all big fours, or there are very specialized niche M&A consulting firms that are in India, where your job prospects are definitely there, where they would appreciate. There are multiple IBs, which is investment bankers or PE firms, who are actively doing deals, and they are definitely looking for people with this kind of expertise and that background. That's something that you can leverage as itself. So yeah, so these are broadly the aspects where you can choose, and you can go ahead and leverage your knowledge in M&A consulting.
Right, right, right. Okay, great, great. Thank you. That was delightful. So now, next, moving on, just wanted to understand from you, how is technology impacting an M&A profile? And, especially what can our young chartered accountants do for continuous upskilling?
Okay. Okay. In terms of technology impacting the M&A field, as I say it right now, the India M&A practice is growing. What I mean by that is, it has not really agreed to imbibe technology in its day-to-day processes, because it's a high tensile work scenario. Everything needs to change, so therefore the softwares that you rely on need to be that much more versatile. And basically the whole summation of is that it ends up working in Excel, because
Right.
Excel is that it's a blank sheet of paper. Every cell is for you to customize. Every row and column is for you to hold. Therefore, Excel has been the tried and tested formula that has worked till now for everything, for dashboarding to CXOs, for giving daily monthly updates about a deal, everything. It's worked that way. So it's the go-to tool for now in terms of technology. But as I see right now, India is definitely growing, and we cannot rely on, like, we're learning that we cannot rely on Excel and PPT continuously for our updates and to know how the deal is progressing. So I see a shift to preliminary database or dashboarding tools like Power BI, which are helping people condense data better, because it uses Excel as a base and then makes the data makes the database or the dashboarding much more versatile, quicker, appreciated. That's given in there. But that's broadly there. So there are various tools that different firms are leveraging right now. There's like MS Planner, where are those project outlook. So these are things that people are using at a day-to-day basis, but again, it's customized for a particular deal. You need that client that you are advising needs to be comfortable with the tool that you're using, because at the end of the day, you're going to report to them. If you're
Absolutely.
going to say this particular deal, you'll have to use this code to enter into this, to know where the stage is, at what stage this progress or this deal is. That's going to be something they'll just tell me, tum batao mere ko what needs to happen, right?
Okay.
So that's there. So in terms of technology, I would say invest time, if you are choosing to go for it, invest time, a lot of time in Excel and
Right.
PPT, because that's going to be a bread and butter.
Right.
But these new dashboarding tools like Power BI are going to be the future of it, which you'll it is a learning curve. So it's not something that you would have to know to enter, but it's something that you'll definitely learn.
Okay, great, 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 amazing. I'm sure all our listeners, would have gained a lot from this session. Just one last thing: any tips for our viewers, or any tips for general C aspirants?
Tips for general CA aspirants. I think the most cliche one is keep at it. You are, uh, like I said, chartered accountancy has it. You will, once you have cleared the hurdle, and you will not be able to appreciate why you're learning what you're learning right now, but the subjects that you're learning are rooted in tried and tested learnings of the industry as a whole. Each subject, and I'm saying each subject is there for a particular reason. You will never know that there is operations research that has come to my aid during assignments. There is financial management that has come to aid during talking with a CFO, where he's appreciated my point because I understood the baseline from which I'm talking of, right?
Right.
So you will never know whether knowledge is going to come handy. What that translate is, do not uh, do not consciously omit something for the sake of just clearing the exam. I would understand it as an exam strategy, but take the time out to revisit. If you have left out something in, let's say, direct tax or indirect tax, just because maybe it's not your favorite subject and each person strategizes differently. So, but take the time out to revisit it because there is something there. It's been put in your syllabus. It's a part of your syllabus for a particular reason. It's something that you need to know, or the institute expects you to know, and there will be definitely some part of your career where you'll appreciate that you did go back and you spent time learning what you did not. So that's my tip. So keep your
Amazing.
knowledge handy.
Amazing. Very well said. Very well said. Thank you so much, Sylvester. I'm sure everybody, including me, I gained a lot from this session. Thank you so much.
That's the hope. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me, and I hope y'all have learned all that has to be said. Please
Yes.
do reach out. I think Beer will drop my coordinates anytime down, so y'all can reach out anytime for any questions that you may have. And I hope you have a good day.
Okay. Thanks, Sylvester.